Welcome back to the JRL Golf Academy. In this episode you're about to watch, Tommy Canal is my guest. Tommy is with Recruit Look. It's a recruiting service that helps with junior golfers looking to play collegiate golf. We talk about all the different aspects of grades to scoring average. Any question that you really might have about what's important to get your son or daughter to play collegiate golf, we go over in this episode. So I hope you enjoy this episode on JRL Golf Academy. So, Tommy, you want to start out sort of what you do and what your services are?
Yeah, so I'm the national scout director for a company called Recruit Look, and we kind of get, for a better lack of terms, lumped into being a recruiting service when we're really a scouting organization. And the difference is, we're not in it for the bottom line. As you know, John, we're in it to actually help kids get to the next level. And we go through a different process to make sure that anybody we bring into Recruit Look matches to what we're looking for, and we can actually help them get to the next level. I mean, we're not just bringing in anybody. We have a vetting process that we do, and we're checking GPA and the talent level for whatever sport you're in, and some other particulars like how far from home you're willing to go, and those things. Then we can get you, guide you and educate you and kind of steer you down the recruiting path to what you're supposed to do and help you get connected with college coaches. And then we can also help you with finding the right fit for what that is for you. And there's some parameters in that. The number one thing that we run into, and John, you and I have talked about this all the time, is people want to go, well, I'm only going to go D1. If I can't go D1, I'm not interested. And it's that hinders so many people, and it puts them what I call into a tunnel that, there's the percentage of kids that play D1 in any sport is, it's less than 4%. And the only reason it's that high is because of the female side. And if I take the females out, we're just talking about boys versus girls. You're talking 3% for females, 1% for males. And to say I'm only going to go D1 and to shut down D2, D3, or NAIA, it's just crazy.
Don't you think it's also important, and I try to tell the juniors I'm working with, say you do go, you can only get into a D3 school or your freshman year. I try to tell them, just because you're playing D3, and, I'm talking about these kids that have aspirations of playing professionally, right? And they might not be there yet.
Right.
Where you start at college doesn't mean where you're going to end up as a professional golfer. It's just where you're at that time, right?
Correct. Absolutely. It's a great point you bring up, because just like that, and I'm dealing with this with another kid in another sport, to where the goal is to go D1. And he is a D1 talented player, but we're not getting the D1 looks that he really wants at this point in time. So there's other ways to get there. As you said, you could go the junior college route for 1 year or 2 years and transfer into a D1, or you can go NAIA, and here's a great story for any basketball kids out there. The starting center for Baylor this year was a kid that played 17 minutes his entire season at a D3 school, and now was the starting center for Baylor. So you got to think about, hey, you can come from anywhere. It just depends on, do you know somebody who can get you a break, or what do you do at these other levels? But to pigeonhole it to D1 is just crazy.
I can tell you this from personal experience. I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to go play at USC. We had my sophomore year, we had a bunch of injuries with other players on the team. And we ended up taking a kid from a local junior college in Valencia. And he ended up being the number 2 collegiate amateur the following year.
Wow.
That season. I take that back. That season, he was the number 2 behind Matt Kuchar. So to your point about, dude, you don't know, just got to keep playing, and you don't know when you're going to get your shot, but keep playing. Don't be like, if I don't go to that D1 school, I'm out. If that kid hadn't done what he did, he would have never got to SE and as highly ranked as he was.
And we got a question on here from Born64 Golf, which is Bradley Bourne. He wants to know, when do you think I should really start worrying about recruiting ranks?
Okay.
And here's the thing with that, Bradley, for all the other golfers out there. I've been doing this now for 6 years. I can count on one hand the number of coaches that ask me for a kid's ranking. They don't ask. What they ask me is, how many times has the kid won? How many times they've been in the top 5? What's his overall average score? What's his attitude, demeanor like on the golf circuit? I worked with a kid who's playing Division I right now in the Mountain West, and he played in one AJGA event his entire life. He never played a futures event, and there's nothing wrong with those events, but his family didn't have the money to spend to send him all over the place. So they found an avenue here locally in Las Vegas. He was ended up signing up with us with Recruit Look, and we helped navigate him through the process, and he gets himself a D1 scholarship. I mean, if you're in the top 200, 250 of your graduation class, ranking-wise, you're probably, as you know, John, your phone's going to ring. They're going to find who you are. But if you're not in that top 200, 250 of your graduation class of any sport where you're at, your phone's probably not going to ring, and you're going to have to do something extra to get yourself to get recruited, whether that's you get in front of a college coach somehow, whether for a golfer, you're at a college golf camp has the coaches that are interested in you and you're interested in them. If you're a baseball, basketball, softball player, are you in the right showcases and the right events to get yourself exposure in front of coaches? And then it comes down to this. You got yourself in front of a coach, but did you perform when they're actually looking at you? And some kids get what I call stage fright. And, they call me up and they're in tears or they're all upset going, I played terrible today because I had college coaches watching me. And my reaction back to them is you have to learn to play in front of a college coach. If you can't play in front of a college coach now, you're going to have to learn to, because those college coaches aren't going anywhere. They're always going to be around, especially at the collegiate level.
Would you also say, though, would you say that those coaches are already there because they've got a list that they've already looked at? You know what I mean?
It's a great question, John. Yes and no. I mean, it's the same thing with me. I come to your events at the California Junior Golf Tour, and I have a list of kids that either you've supplied me with, or Dan supplied me with, or they've contacted you and say, hey, I have to be looked at. And then as me, as another coach there, you're there looking at somebody, and then somebody else catches your eye. That does occur. I mean, it's rare. And this reason it's rare is you're so focused on who you're looking at. Sometimes you don't open up the blinders, so to speak, to see other kids that are standing right in front of you, because you're so much concentrating on who you're looking at. But it does happen.
Here's a good question. We have Brady Riggs is in here as a viewer. He's actually the coach over at UC Irvine. And Brady, I don't know if you can answer any of these questions coming from your perspective, but I'd like to see what your perspective is, if you're allowed to answer this question, Brady. I know there's NCAA stuff, but it says, how important is Instagram or Twitter? Let's get yours on that, Tommy.
Here's my thing with social media. Social media can be really good, and it can be also bad. If you're using social media to promote yourself in a positive way, and you're putting out your accolades academically and athletically, and you're showing swing videos or videos, whatever sport you're in, so a college coach can see that, and then you're putting in that, hey, I'm a National Honor Society student, I'm a 3.8 student with all honors, those type of things. Those are really good things. Now, if you're going to go post a bunch of stupid stuff and retweet and like things on Twitter and Instagram and on Snapchat, things you shouldn't be putting out there, or here's what I say. If you think it might be dicey, it's crossed the line. Don't do it. Because all you need is one college coach to go, hey, I was kind of interested in this person. And then all of a sudden they posted something and you're like, all right, I'm out. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Don't give
them. I mean, it can be very beneficial. I tell kids, coaches are on social media. It's not like they're not watching you. Even if they're not communicating with you, they may be watching what you're doing.
Yeah. I also, my own personal thing, I try to tell my parents, like, I see some of the real young kids and the parents are doing their Instagram. Don't do that. Don't
Same thing with emails.
Yeah, it's pointless, guys. It really is pointless because the college coaches, honestly, the college coaches I've talked to have said, we know that parent is fairly controlling. It's like, dude, they got to deal with the kid. They don't want to have to deal with the parent as well.
Yeah, and it's funny how this is all evolving because right now with everything happening with things being shut down, the number one thing that's happening for us is parents are in complete panic mode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the kids are resilient. They don't give enough credit to their children that they're actually resilient and can get through it. The parents have gone overboard. I've got parents sending out multiple emails and calling coaches. And I'm like, whoa, put the brakes on, relax, back it up. You're not going to school.
Yeah.
They want to hear from your son or daughter, not from you. You have to relax. And, you know, when the NCAA spring thing ruling came out last Monday, I mean, that was in panic mode for spring sports, baseball, softball, men's golf, men's volleyball, track and field. People went into this panic mode about what am I going to do? And parents pushed the panic button and did some things they shouldn't have. Don't control, as you said, their social media accounts. Please don't send emails that the mom or dad wrote. Because I've had a volleyball coach in the past, John, contact me and said, hey, I'm really interested in this girl that you and I have been talking about. But the emails that I've been getting, I'm almost positive are coming from dad because I've talked to dad and I know how he speaks and I've talked to the daughter and I know how she speaks. This isn't what's happening in the emails. He said, do me a favor. If you would, check with them and see what's happening because if dad wrote these emails, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, dad was writing the email. So I got back to the coach and I said, dad admitted to writing the emails. He said, well, please relay this to me. I wish them the best on their recruiting search, but I'm done. I've told them I don't want to hear from mom and dad.
I've probably asked about 5 coaches about that, and they've all said the same thing you said. They go, it's okay if the kid makes mistakes or whatever on the email or whatever. They'd rather know that they're dealing with the player. Okay. So what else you got there, Tommy, about the recruiting process? And
and on that same line,
yeah.
Here's the other thing. And the same thing with us with Recruit Look. We realize college coaches don't want to talk to us all the time. But, you know, we can help them initiate the lead and the connection. And then once that connection's done, they don't want to hear from me. They want to hear from the prospect. And that's where we kind of go into the behind the scenes mode and kind of help guide with that. But also with recruiting right now, with where things are at, and there's some unknown certainty going forward, the one thing that we have seen is an influx of coaches contacting us because, as everybody else, they're at home. I mean, you've turned into an Instagram host. So, you know, and you're still giving lessons, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But we've had coaches contacting us that have never had before because now they're looking for leads.
Yeah.
And, you know, we only have so many leads in our portal. And once all those have, you know, dried up where we can match them, you know, the challenge has been finding new leads to help with people. But, you know, one thing with recruiting, I can tell everybody out there, if you're sitting back going, I have time, I'll start it when all this kicks back up, man, you're going to fall behind. Because right now, everybody's getting aggressive with it. Everybody's trying to find the next step above somebody. With golf courses being shut down more and more nationwide, it's just giving more and more families the opportunities to go, hey, what do we do with our recruiting or our recruitment?
Let's talk about grades. How
Yeah.
important are grades for giving yourself the opportunity, the biggest opportunity to get into as many schools as you can? Can you talk about grades with the recruiting process?
Absolutely. It's the number one thing for us. You know, I can see somebody that has all the talent in the world and could be a D1 player, a high D1 player for that aspect. But if they don't have grades to go with it, you know, the formula doesn't work. You have to get it done. And there's academic money out there. The average golf scholarship's about 35%. Let's make sure everybody understands that. So there's 65% left on the table to pay. And
is that across like D1, D2, D3? What's that 35% on?
That's basically all levels combined.
Okay.
What the average one is.
Okay.
And the grades come into factors. Can we get them some academic money on top of the athletic money? So if they've been offered 30% athletic money, can we find you 20, 25, 30% or academic money to put on top to make it 50, 60%, so it's less out of the pocket? And one of the things that I hear all the time is, I'm 3.0, 3.3, 3.5, I'm okay. Well, yeah, you're okay based on your ACT score, but when you're in the classroom or right now you're doing stuff online, you're competing with everybody else in your graduation class for academic money, because that's not put aside just for athletes. It's not like schools go, we have this academic money for those that don't play sports, and then we have this big pot of money for those that do play sports.
Right.
You're competing with for the same money out there. So if you think somebody in front of you going, oh, well, they got a 3.8, 3.9, 4.0, 4.4, whatever. Well, they might end up going to the same college you do, and they want academic money, and they may end up taking it out of your hands. So academics plays a big part. And so does ACT and SAT, although I'm hearing rumors. I don't know if it's ever going to come to, the limelight, so to speak, but the ACT, SAT may be something that's not looked at as strong as it is nowadays for admission purposes, just with everything going on. So GPA could even be more of a factor. But for those schools that are looking at ACT numbers for admission, you need to have that number. What we call the baseline is a 3.5 and 25. Because from there, you can slide it. If you're not a good test taker, but you have a 3.7, but you have a 23, we can slide that a little bit and try and advise you on which way is the best. You can retake the ACT up to 12 times. And now after you've taken the first time, you don't have to take the whole test anymore. You can take just one part.
Okay.
Yeah. And the SAT side, it's unlimited the number of times that you can take it, but only your last 6 results will show up on the score.
Gotcha. So what else we got? So we got grades. When should somebody start the process?
Well, I guess that depends on how aggressive you are and who you ask. For us, the optimal time is to get somebody in right around their freshman year so we can start walking them through the process. The last thing we want to do is really push somebody and expedite, although we have to sometimes.
Yeah.
But that summer between 8th grade and freshman year is what we call the prime time. The freshman year is really good for us to get your profile ready, get your swing video out, get your score, get your golf resume ready, and then start, floating that out to some coaches to find out not so much of are they going to recruit you, but are you somebody they may be interested in down the line, and then we can help grow your recruitment from there. Right now with things going on, 4 months ago, if somebody called me as a 2020 male, I would say nothing I can do. Right now, I do, just because of the influx of coaches. There's some guidelines to that. You've got to be pretty much open to going anywhere and not going, well, I don't want to go to this school because it's cold. I don't want to go to that school because they don't have a good training facility. I don't want to go to this school because I don't like their golf course. If you're a 2020 and you're still out there, you have to be pretty much open to go, I just want to play.
Yeah.
But the premier time is that freshman year. And then after that, it starts, the process gets a little bit quicker as we go.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What other stuff do you, what do you look for in a potential client?
On the golf side, since we're talking more golf here today, the big thing with golf is this. Everybody thinks I'm out there looking at their swing, and I'm not. That's what you do. And that's why there's swing instructors out there to take care of the swing. I'm out there looking at demeanor, how they handle bad shots, a bad hole, a bad break. What's their creativity like? What's their course management like? Do they understand different shots around the green? Are they using those kind of things? And then what kind of potential is it in a certain player? You can look at a kid and go, man, if they could learn A, B, and C, they could be really good. And then, I go talk to somebody like you that's helping them go, yeah, we're actually working on those things. That helps as well. So those are the intangibles I'm looking at, not so much the swing. Score does play a factor in what I'm looking at because I want to see where you're at baseline now and compared to where you could be. You know, you can't just be going out there putting up any number you want and going, well, I think I can play somewhere. That may or may not be true. But the number one thing for me I'm looking for is, besides that, is somebody who has the heart that you can see that passion in them going, I love this. I want to get better.
Yeah. There's a question there from Lee. Would love to hear the difference in recruiting from when you, John, went to school versus now. I would get packets and packets. My parents saved it, and I would get pamphlets and every single thing from every college. I was lucky I had one from about any school that you think of, and I had 3 trash bag fulls, Tommy, when I got done with the process. I mean, big hefty ones. But in terms of I don't know. This is gonna sound really. I don't like saying this, but it was different for me because they were coming after me in the recruiting process, right? I mean,
were you a top-ranked player, John?
I was 5th in the world, or in the U.S. for junior, so they were coming to me. So I don't know really what the process was like. So I can speak from the colleges calling you. There was, I think I had 3 or 4 visits, official visits that I was allowed to do, where the school would bring you in and kind of wine you and dine you for the week or the weekend, and they show you their facility and all that stuff. You meet the team and stuff like that. So I think my experiences might be different than what Tommy is like if a player came to Tommy. Could you speak of that, how that's different?
Yeah. So the biggest thing right now is, as you said, if you're one of those top-ranked players as you were, John, then the process is not going to change much. You're going to get packets. You're going to get the phone calls. What has changed is the dates when those can happen. Until June 15th after your sophomore year, there's no communication at all. And then August 1, you can start to have those visits. But outside the dates, it's communication and connection. And that's one thing that, where we can help assist with that, going, here's a kid that, is just a top player, probably should be on some radars now, and we can get that going. And so when the time happens, then they can start making those phone calls and things like that. For instance, one of the young ladies that we're working with, John, that's with Recruit Look with Lauren, she's one of the top players. There's some D1 schools that are just kind of waiting for the date to hit when they can start reaching out to contact her. But I've been able to bridge that and get them aware of who she is and what she does and keep them updated. And then that will all change here in another few months when it goes to her. And then, like I said earlier, I'll take the backseat of it and let that happen and go from there. But if you're not in that top ranked thing, I mean, you really got to have, it's a full-time job if you're going to do it on your own. And that's one thing I've heard from families. When we've tried to do this, we don't have the time to do it. And we don't know really what we're doing. We're kind of search it, and we think we should be doing this and maybe we shouldn't. But, that's where we can kind of help guide that process and help you through of really getting your name out there and getting exposure. I mean, I have a kid right now who's a sophomore. I think will be a pretty good player, kid from Vegas here in another couple of years. But his average score right now is, high 70s, low 80s. But we have him on probably close to a dozen radars, because we're able to show the progress of what he's doing and where he started and, how that's happening. And that's what coaches want to see. That they don't want to see a kid that goes, all right, he's tapped out at 75 and that's as good as he's going to get. And we're not going to get any better. Towards somebody that might be at 79, all of a sudden goes 78, 77, jumps to 75, 74. That's when they can make that decision when they want to jump in.
I kind of relate Tommy to, and let me know if this is incorrect or not, but like an agent, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like you're the middle guy that's going to try to get the deals and let all the people know, hey, this is my talent here with my player, and things that are, you organize things and you understand, when certain time dates are crucial to get certain paperwork in. I've seen what you've done with a bunch of my players. They're on top of things. At least they are made aware of when certain milestones need to be met, which is very, very difficult to know all those things, because realistically, most of these parents and players, it's the first time they've gone through the process. Tommy does this every day. So that's how I relate it to my students and my players about what the services of your Recruit Look does.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, that's mainly where I take the pride in what I do is, you know, I'm in touch with my families every single month. And sometimes I have to be the realistic voice to go, no, we're not here yet. We're only here. And if you don't get me these things, I can't even help you here. You know, and that's some things that fall back, as you said, with timelines going, hey, if you really want me to help you, then you got to give me the tools we're requesting to help you. And then we can walk you through the process. But, you know, we're hands-on. We want to make sure that we're on the same page with our families all the time. You know, it'd be terrible if I didn't talk to somebody for 4 months and go, hey, by the way, you know, what's going on in your world? And this is what I've been doing. There's too much disconnect there. So, you know, I want to be on top of it every single month and be able to direct families or help them or get them in contact with the coaches that, you know, they deserve to be in touch with. And sometimes that's more difficult than others. You know, we talked about D1 a lot here. And the one thing with D1 is you can have all the talent in the world and be a D1 player, have D1 grades, be told you're D1, have coaches at D1 talking to you, but D1 coaches never offer you.
Yeah.
And kids they start seeing that and go, I'm going D1. Well, just because that's all happening, you got to get that offer. And when it comes to D1, as you know, John, it comes down to the fit.
Yeah.
You can be a D1 player, but if the coach doesn't think you fit in with his style or the team doesn't think you're going to fit in with them, it's a no-go. Because at that level, it's a business. And coaches get paid to put up good programs. And if they don't, they're kicked down the street and they'll get a new coach in. So, you know, coaches look at it as a business going, hey, I'm getting paid this pretty good salary. You got to perform. And if you're not performing, you got to go. I got to get somebody who can.
Can you talk about some like statistics? Let's talk about like scholarships, percentage of people that are going to play, how many colleges, how many scholarships were left on the table.
Yeah.
Tommy's got a bunch of these about, yeah.
So let's start with the number of junior golfers in any one given year. I mean, it's over 200,000 junior golfers from ages 9 to 18 in any one given year. So when you just talk there, and I'll break down more numbers here, but if you just think about nationwide, 200,000 junior golfers, and then you go, okay, well, that's all the classes, but I'm a junior. Well, your junior class nationwide could be 20,000 kids. It could be 30,000 kids in that one graduation class. And only 8% of those that play junior golf end up getting to play at the collegiate level of some sort, whether it's NAIA, D3, junior college, you don't know. So you have to be in that 8%. And if you're not, how do you get in it? Going, well, hey, I'm better than so-and-so down the street, and I go play in these events, and I'm beating this person all the time, but they're getting looks and I'm not. What's going on? It comes down to different things. We want to talk statistics. GPA, we talked about it, but what's your grade point average? That's a big statistic on whether or not you can get recruited. You know, what's your average golf score? How open are you to going anywhere? The other thing when you talk about numbers is, we talked about 35% is the average scholarship. Families will turn that down because they're in their mind going, I'm getting a full ride.
Right.
Well, you know, a full ride is not, it's less than 4%. I've been doing this for 6 years, and in golf, I've had 3 kids get full rides in 6 years. It's rare. I've had kids get 75, 80, 85, 90 added up between grants, financial aid, a bunch of different things combined. But the average scholarship's 35%. I had a dad call me up one time and tell me his daughter received a scholarship for 70% at a D1 school, and he turned it down. And then when I got done explaining that percentage and how good that was, then he had her call back and take the scholarship because he figured out, hey, I'm probably not going to get a better one than this. But, and the other thing is we all hear in golf is, I want to play pro.
Yeah.
I'm going to play on the pro tour. The statistic of you seeing your name on a PGA leaderboard is less than 1/10 of a percentage point. So when you take that number and based off of the big number, and it kind of gives you an idea of how good you have to be. You know, you want to play D1 less, you know, it's a small percentage. If you just look at breaking it down on the men's side, it's like 2.1% versus 4.3 or 4.5% on the female side. So when somebody tells you you're going to play D1, I always tell them, you're the best kid at your school. And you're one of the best, if not the best kid in your conference. And then if I go statewide, everybody kind of knows who you are in a statewide as well. And then you can break that down regional, because that's what it's going to take if you're going to go D1. I mean, are there diamonds in the rough? Yeah, we hear about them, but those are rare cases. It's not like somebody that's shooting par all the time or under par is going to go unnoticed. Sooner or later, somebody's going to go, hey, there's a kid at so-and-so, you know, and the word gets out.
Yeah.
That way. But it's rare. And another, you know, number I always tell people to look at is, if you want to really have the best opportunity, I understand the entire United States may not be for you. Maybe it's too cold somewhere, or I don't want to go wherever it is. But in golf, it fills up like pouring water in a glass from the bottom of the United States on up, because everybody wants to go where it's warm. And the longer you wait, and then you're a junior going, oh, I want to, you know, from Southern California or from Vegas, for those people listening going, I want to stay in this climate. I want to stay where it's nice. Well, those schools may all be filled up. I want to go to Florida then. Those schools are going to fill up. Well, then let me get into Texas. Well, Texas is going to fill up. And you got to start looking at it, of how it fills up. I mean, it's kind of odd that every year that there's unused scholarships, and those are from schools like in North or South Dakota or Upper Michigan, you know, or sometimes Oregon, that are looking for players. I mean, it's cold in those areas, and kids don't want to go. I'm like, if you want to play golf bad enough, you go there, you start there, and you can always work your way out. You never know. You might fall in love with where you're going and decide you never want to leave. But you have to be able to have some openness, because everybody that wants to tunnel it, you shrink your percentages even more by going, I only want to go to these schools. Now, if you have a degree that you know you're concrete in, and it's a rare degree out there, then you're going to have to look at where those schools are and go, I'll go to anywhere that has this degree.
Yeah. We're seeing that with one of our players right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're seeing that for sure. How does a player determine what school they should really go to? Or like, you know, what I'm trying to get at is like, say a kid's shooting an average of 74, and he's going, man, I want to go play at USC. That 74 is not going to get on at USC. How does he determine, or she, how do they determine what school they can really go to or should be shooting for?
Well, let's talk score first, because that's the number one thing always going, you know, hey, I'm dealing with this with golf right now, and another family that, you know, they got some D2 interest, but they're like, you know, but we're averaging 77. We should be at D1. You're not at D1 at 77. You're lucky you have some D2 interest at 77, you know, because that's more NAIA D3 interest, and even D1 JUCO is not even looking at 77. Division II junior college might, but it breaks down like this. I mean, to go on the high side, I've gotten girls scholarships of 50, 60, 70% that are averaging 95, but they have great GPAs. Because there's a need for female golfers. Every year I have close to a dozen unused scholarships for females. So there's that. On the men's side, I found kids scholarships that have averages of like 82 and down, but are really good students, because you can offset that by getting some academic money, and maybe a coach goes, you know, I can work with that kid and maybe I can get their scoring average to come down a little bit, and that helps. But from D3, you know, coaches want to get the best player they can, obviously, but they also understand that they may have to take some kids that are high 70s, low 80s. NAIA on the girl side, again, I mean, you can be 90, 95 down to around 75 and get pretty good offers. On the men's side, anywhere from par, depending on the school, might be able to find something up to around 80. You get in Division II, those 80s are gone. You know, even on both sides, male and female. You're looking Division II anywhere from par to mid 70s, and on the female side, maybe high 70s, and that depends on the school. That may not even be enough. In Division I, I can't put it out there enough on the men's side. If you're not shooting par or better for the most part, D1's just it's hard. It's really hard because as the funnel goes, and you can pull up anything, you can go to like Junior Golf Scoreboard or anything and type in a scoring average and look how many hundreds or thousands of kids are shooting within a shot of that number. You know, you go type in 75.5 and going, well, I'm a D1 player, and you pull it up going, wow, there's 12,000 kids shooting the same number I am nationwide. That kind of, you know, tells you where you should be. You know, there's a question on here about what division would an average score of 73 be. 73 is going to get some D1 interest. It's not going to, depending on the school, probably not a 1 or a 2 man. You might be a 3, 4, 5, but you could be a 1 or a 2 man in a Division II school. And then on the other side of that, it comes down to what yardage are you playing? You know, that's why I have a hard time giving high school scores out because they're playing short distances or 9 holes. You know, if you're on the men's side and you're not playing, you know, 7,000 to 7,200 yards, I understand not all courses have those, but if they do and you're not, you know, you're not helping yourself get ready for the next level.
Does that,
Go ahead,
Tommy, does that 73 matter if that's a score, like that player, that 73 is a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior? Does that play any difference?
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
I mean, if you got a 73 as a freshman, I mean, now we're already on some pretty good D1 radars going. We're at 73 as a freshman. This kid could be 60 subs, you know, in 60s, you know, +2, +3, +4. By the time they're a junior or a senior, if they continue to work at it and get better, now that makes a big difference to whether if it's a 73 as a junior or a senior. What's the grind like? Can we get 73 to 72? Can you get past that plateau? Are you really working on the things that are stopping you scoring? What is it? You know, a lot of times it comes down to short game, but it could be off the tee as well. You know, and I've had a situation where I talked to a player once and they were stuck at a number right around 74, 75, and the putts were good. And I'm like, you know, how many greens are you hitting? And the greens weren't bad. It could be a little better. And then when I backed up and said, well, how many fairways were you hitting? They weren't even hitting half their fairways. I'm like, okay, time out. You know, you've put a lot of work into your short game, but you got to get the ball in play.
Yeah.
And maybe that driver's got to get put away for a while, because if you're striping it and being able to put the ball in the green, you're making putts, you know, being behind trees and in rough all day is not going to help you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what other statistics you got on there?
Somebody else just put one on and went by. I didn't see it. Let's see here.
It said, here it is. Is a 0.5 differential on Junior Golf Scoreboard going to be good for a 2020 where is it? 2020 looking to play top 30 D1?
Yes, here it is. Yeah, good for 2022 player. Look, top 30 D1 at 2022. I mean, again, that comes down to that fit. That comes down to how well are you going to fit? What's a coach need in that year? Could it get there? Yeah, possibly. But you know, I wouldn't put all my stock in going, I'm only looking to play in the top 30. Because you might get a better offer from a school that's not in the top 30. Just because you're only looking top 30, you might be passing up some pretty good money somewhere else. Yeah.
I think that's a good point that you're saying. The fit, I think, is the most important thing. I think, you know, sometimes, you know, we get caught up in this school or that school, but, you know, the fit, you know, with all the players I've coached over the years and stuff like that is very, very important. You know, if you're cool with the coach and stuff like that, because it's not always that way. You know, so it's a relationship you're getting into.
Yeah,
and you better know what your partner is. So,
and on any level with that too, John. I mean, I tell kids all the time, and I've had this. I want to go to school A really bad, and I've sent them a dozen emails, and I've called 6 times, and the coaches never contact me back. But I got school B over here that is blowing my phone up. You know, been in touch with my mom and dad and sending me information in the mail, and they're begging me. I'm not really gung ho on them. And my always question is, and why aren't you? because it's something to be said to go play for a coach that wants you on the team than to go play for a coach that hasn't even returned your calls, but you want to play there.
Yeah.
Go play somewhere where you want it. Your entire college experience will be 10 times better, because 9 times out of 10, those kids that, they just bug a coach to enough, they go, we'll take you as a walk-on. Next semester, a year later, they're calling going, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
That's, you weren't meant to go there anyway. You were trying to get yourself to get in the door to say, I want to go to school A, but school B was your better choice. Yeah. And then sometimes they call school B back and they're like, no, we're full.
Sorry. That happens.
Yeah, it does. So we're trying to get you to come. You didn't want to listen. That's your own fault.
It's a game. You know what I mean? It's, sometimes you lose in the game there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Nathaniel, Tommy, you think some of the top D1 schools look at JUCO golf because I'm going to grind my butt off and then put up the scores and then hopefully get recognized by the D1 schools?
All right, Natron. Here's the thing. Anybody in JUCO out there that's looking to go D1, the first thing you have to do is when you go to JUCO is forget about D1, D2, D3. You need to start worrying about JUCO golf, because JUCO golf is just as good as D1, because you got some kids that can really play at these schools because they're bringing internationals in.
Yep.
And these schools are no joke, and the leagues that are in are no joke. So you got to forget about D1. What you got to do is, after your freshman year, because you're starting your GPA over, what's your transferable GPA? And what I mean by that is, make sure all your classes are transferable. And those that don't transfer, what's your GPA of the transferable credit hours? How many transferable credit hours do you have to take to the next school? And then from there, what is your average golf score in tournaments? And if you're not playing tournaments, then what's your average golf score that a division or four-year coach can call your JUCO coach to get? Because that's going to be a big key. Yeah. If you're shooting 76 now, in a year you're still shooting 76, you've done yourself no good.
Yeah.
You really got to look to push. I mean, when you're talking D1 schools out of JUCO, they want kids that can come in and play right away. They're not looking for a transfer to come and not play. Yeah. So you're going to have to be shooting around par pretty consistently, if not better.
Yeah. Don't worry about where, good golf takes care of good golf. Good golf takes care of a lot of things. It doesn't matter what level you're at.
No.
If you went out and shot 69 every round in JUCO, that'll take care of itself.
Yeah. And one thing I always say about golf, it's one of the few sports that I say it's not prejudiced where you go to school. Yeah. It's not like the basketball, the NFL draft, that they're coming from the top D1s in the country. In golf, you want to go play when it's all over, then you're going to go find yourself, put a peg in the ground, pay an entry fee to see if you can make it on some kind of tour, and you're going to have to put up a number. It's not going to ask you where you went to school.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty good there. If there's any other questions here, anything else you want to get across there, Tommy?
Not really. I mean, just if anybody's got any other questions, want to reach out to me, feel free. They can, direct message me on Instagram. Be more than help them out and answer some questions if they're looking for some help or have some additional things about, maybe when we want to get started with Recruit Look right now because of all the pandemic going on. We're offering some pretty good discounted pricing that I've not seen ever, and I've been with this company for a while. So if there's ever a time you want to get in at the lowest price possible, it's right now.
All right. So you guys, how can they get a hold of you again other than Instagram on Recruit Look? How else can they get a hold of you, like your email or something like that?
Yeah, my email is my name, tommy.canale@recruitlook.com. You can also find that out on the website, which is recruitlook.com. You can go to my Instagram that we're on now. You can find me. If you search my name, it'll pop up somewhere. You can get a hold of me, but my email's fine. And if you go to, I think it's on my Instagram, you can also get to my email or even my phone number as well.
All right, there you go. Tommy, thanks so much for spending the time to give some of these nuggets of information to both parents and players. With the California Junior Golf Tour. Yeah, with the California Junior Golf Tour, we're always trying to educate no matter what, any aspect of the game. So Tommy's a wealth of knowledge and a great resource. So I appreciate that, Tommy, you taking the time.
No problem. We'll hope to see you out there soon.
All right, everybody, stay safe.
All right, take care.
See you, bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody, the JRL Golf Academy. Please make sure to link and comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell for notifications. And we look forward to seeing you on the next JRL Golf Academy.